You've tuned in to Arm and a Leg and Other Opinions We Like to Give, a weekly podcast hosted by two veterans dedicated to politics, current events, interviews, and anything else they want to mention, but probably shouldn't. So without further ado, here are your hosts, Robbie the Dream Gaupp and Brett Miracle Man Parks.
Hey, and welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Arm and a Leg and Other Opinion We Like to Give podcast. I am Brett Parks.
And it's your boy, Robbie Gaupp.
So, we have a pretty cool show today. We're going to talk about some sportsy kind of stuff. Well, we're talking about LeBron. And when we talk about LeBron and his new school opening up and some good stuff. But before we start, what's up, Robbie?
What is up, Brett Parks? Not much here, just living the good life.
Living the dream, huh? How's your summer been so far?
It's been great. I mean, you can't really complain too much. My kids actually come home next week, and can't wait for that. My daughter and son were with their mom for the summer, so they'll be coming back. So far, me and Sadie have had a great summer. We've, had a lot of chance to grow with Ezra and watch him grow up. So,
yeah, man, he's getting big. I was just saying off air just now that how old is he right now?
He is 11 months now.
Okay, he's 11 months, and he looks like he's 6 years old. So he's a big boy. So yeah, he must have gotten most of your genes.
How's your summer been so far, Brett Parks?
It's been okay. I am so ready. The kids go back to school in 2 weeks, and I can't wait. I'm ready for them to go. And it's not because I don't like them, because I do. They're cool sometimes. But the thing is I'm a man of routine. I love my routine, and I had a great one when the kids were in school. But now they're out of schools. I have to bring them to the gym every once in a while. I'm really big into fishing now, and I have to take one or two of them fishing when I go, and I hate that because I have to concentrate on them instead of fishing. But no, it really is good. But I'm just ready to get back to my routine.
I understand. That's a good point. Sometimes, not saying that kids don't become, aren't lovable and all these other things, but sometimes there are times when it's hard to do things while they're there.
I
understand that.
It's tough. So whatevs.
especially when you're at home all the time.
I know. Right. Being retired and them being here too, the walls are closing in. My son and my daughter yesterday were jumping off the couch on each other, like doing frog splashes on each other. I'm like, just go to bed. I was so mad. But I survived. Barely.
Well, that's good. So talking about jumping off things. So How do you love that LeBron jumped off and created a school and the things that he's doing with this?
Okay, so I want to call this segment for me good LeBron, bad LeBron, because I think the good part of LeBron, what he did, creating this school, opening this school, it's incredible. It's such a great thing that he decided to do this. It shows a few things. Number one, it shows his love for his community. Akron, where he grew up, and that's great. I love it when people get famous and they come back home and they do stuff for the community, and not many people do that, especially celebrities. So I love that. I love that he is a prime example of the private sector doing something so much better than the public sector could. This is a great argument for privatizing schools. When you got guys like LeBron James that's going to open their own school and going to have a place where kids can really feel pride and the school really looking good, it really trumps, no pun intended, it really trumps the government and what they are able to do and what they're willing to do. So I love that about LeBron, and I think he's the greatest basketball player of all time. I know we're going to get some comments about that. But I love that part, and I'm going to save my bad LeBron for after I hear your opinion. So what do you think about it?
Well, I think it's an amazing thing. Like you said, he's bringing something back to his community where a lot of people famous or even people with just money that aren't famous that don't do. I also agree with you that he is the greatest basketball player, and to do this while he's still pursuing basketball also shows that it's not always about what's going on at the moment that's important. Sometimes it's also what's going on around you that's important. And I'm happy that he's coming out and showing that, yes, I love basketball and that's my life, but also my life is helping and giving back to the community and I guess the country when you look at it like that. So
Yeah. So
he plans on doing a kindergarten through the 8th grade program and helping with tuition if they, graduate from high school to go on to college. Right now for his school, these are some of the promises he's made: free tuition for everyone, free uniforms.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, free uniforms, a free bicycle and helmet, as that's what helped him, while he was, in that area, to stay off the streets and to, to have fun and to get from place to place. Free transportation within 2 miles, so buses and everything will be included in this if if you can't get to school. Free breakfast and lunch and snacks, a free pantry for families, which I'm kind of still skeptical on that, as sometimes people abuse things when it's free. So
free pantry for
families. So if it's hard to feed your kid at home, then there's going to be food accessible to you.
Okay.
So that kind of stuff happens. GEDs and job placement service for parents. So if you don't have an education now, he's giving you opportunity to get that and to possibly work at the school or a job outside of in that city that he's going to work to help you find. He's also guaranteed tuition to the University of Akron for students who graduate. So.
Oh, wow. That's pretty incredible. And this is all, he just fronted the money and he said, let's do this. I want to do this. I also heard that the school hours are from like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. instead of 3. So they get an extra 2 hours at school. And he said for that reason, because of that, they'll be less tempted to go run around because they're in school all day.
Which I believe is a plug in society, because kids are doing a lot of things younger than when we were kids,
Right. Yeah. I saw a few pictures, and that one picture of the stairs going up, kind of like not spiraling, but going along the wall. Man, it looks so cool.
It almost looks like a university.
Exactly. Right.
Like, it's amazing. But I'm sure that, they put time and effort in this. I think the school I was reading opens in 2022.
Right. I think so.
So
I think you're right.
He still has time to, go over and make sure everything that is the way that he wants it to. I'm sure he has other people doing that as well. It's not just him. But with him moving, I do want to see what it's going to consist of, because he has left that area as he moved from Cleveland Cavaliers all the way to the Lakers. So with making that move and him living in California now, how much is he actually going to be, working with the school?
That's true. That's a good point. I remember that I watched the Don Lemmon interview with LeBron James, and for those that didn't watch it, it's about 16 minutes. And I actually posted the video on our Facebook page, Arm and a Leg and Other Opinions We Love to Give. Go ahead and get on there and watch this video. And Don Lemmon actually asks him, he's in California now. And he's like, you're in California, but is your heart still in Akron? He said, yeah, this is where my heart is. This is where I'm going to be. So I think he's going to, take trips back as much as possible. But I'm sure that he has a committee around him that are going to run it and just, keep him up on things.
Well, even through his basketball career, he has stated that LA may not be the ending place. He might go back to Cleveland eventually. Like, it's one of them things right now. I think for basketball, the move was more for what is going to get me to where the world will look at me as the greatest basketball player ever. Right. Sometimes you have to make transitional moves like that just because, your team isn't building around you. They're not winning championships. So to make that move isn't based on the area and the things that Cleveland hasn't given to him. I'm sure everything worked out, but it's just better for him as far as business-wise decision in basketball.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. He's only 32 right now. 32 years old. So he still has a good 7-8 years in him. Let's be conservative. He has another 5 years. Just because he's played extra seasons throughout these years because of all the playoff games and all the finals and everything. So we'll say he's got another 5 years. I could see him being in LA for 3 of those years and then coming back to Cleveland to end his last 2 years.
Yeah, retire out there.
It's like what Dwayne Wade did. he went off and did his thing, but then he came back to Miami, and because this is where his heart is, here in Miami. I'm saying here in Miami. I'm in Jacksonville right now, but my heart's in Miami. So here in Miami. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. And I think he's got it all figured out.
Yeah, with the promises, when you promise, I think the thing is growing up in an area, a lot of times you see where the flaws are, and you see that, hey, I wish somebody could come open programs here and open this and open that. And when you have the financial revenue and those are the things that you felt that should have been done, I think somebody backing that and saying, hey, this is what I wish would have been happened when I was a kid and it didn't happen, but now that I got the financial gain, let me prove it. Let me prove this is going to change our area. Let me prove that this is going to, more kids are going to graduate, more kids are going to go to school, and more kids are going to show, like you said, there could be another LeBron James out there. There could be another, Vince Van Gogh. Those people are out there, and without the education and the ability to do those, where are we standing?
Right. So do you think without a school like this, it's very difficult for another LeBron James to rise? Or do you think no matter what, as long as they make responsible decisions, there will always be that LeBron James to rise up?
Well, I think there's always opportunity for LeBrons in this world. Now, that's all based on, your parents, about how the right choices you make, like you said, those kind of things. We watch people from New York all the time that live in the projects come out and be great basketball players. I'm not saying they're all LeBrons, but let's see where you come from and how hard you really want it. Dedication and heart and hard work are what gets you there. So it's not about being middle class, being high class. It all takes hard work. It don't matter what class you're really in. I mean, the thing is, I believe that this is just giving an opportunity to some kids, not only to be athletes, but also now to get an education system without the government ran education. Because the government ran education was really truthfully created to work in factories. And we see that still to this day, that it's still being ran that way. And it's one of the things, everybody learns differently. Everybody is working to be something that they want to be in life, but when you have a system that is only kind of functioning for what it is mandated to do, then it's hard for people to learn and excel in something.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. The whole factory thing in education. Education really is, in public school system, they teach you just enough to function in the real world. And that's really not what education should be. And in the public sector, it's always going to be that way. But yeah, you can't to just teach somebody enough. You need to teach kids there's no thinking critically anymore in schools. There's no critical thinking. There's no logic anymore. They don't teach logic, which is one of the fun, I almost said funnest, one of the most fun thing, and also the most disappointing thing in Facebook and arguing on Facebook, is the lack of logic with so many people. They say one thing, and I try to talk them through it. You said this. If that's true, then this means this is true. How could you say that? And they're like, no, that's not it. But there's no logic. Logic has been lost in society, and so has reasoning. And I think that it's such a big disappointment that the public school system really has failed in this aspect.
Yeah, it has. I mean, it's one of the things that when we look at it, why are we not having kids enjoy school? Why are we not having kids enjoy the moment that is theirs and what they're going to be? If your kid says he wants to be a firefighter and that's what he wants to excel in, then at a certain age, that should be things that he's studying for and working towards. Right. If you want to be a computer technician, then you start taking computer classes. It just makes more sense. Right. I'm not saying that can't change later in life. It's almost like going to college. You can change your degree, but eventually you have to make a choice. If you don't make that choice, then school basically is just there, and you're just using the system, and you're never getting nowhere with it.
Right. Right. What about this whole No Child Left Behind? That, from what I gather on the surface, is what I gather is it's almost like pushing a kid through high school, even though they don't know, the bare minimum. It's just saying, okay, well, we don't want him to have we don't want him to be a failure. So we're going to push him through and he'll just try to catch up in the next grade level. What's that like?
Well, to me, it's almost as if we had to compare it to anything, it'd be like a participation type thing.
Right.
Where as long as you're working hard and trying to succeed, then we're just going to pass you. And I don't agree with that. I grew up in a society where, if you made a 69, I grew up where they only had A, B's, and C's. If you had a 69, you failed.
Right.
And your parents let you know, hey, you could work harder. You need to work harder because guess what? There's a punishment for failing. And if you aren't punished for failing and you don't show that, hey, you can excel better, then you really don't try to excel better.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's like I say some of the strictest parents, are Asian parents because, they put stipulations where, hey, you don't make an A, guess what? This is what you're going to do. And you're going to do it. And that's what's going to happen. And you see the education level there. You see the kids are a lot of them are more intelligent. A lot of them are musicians that in young ages because they're driven to be that. And I like that point that we can drive our kids. We should drive our kids to be something better every single day. And to watch, this No Child Left Behind, not saying Asians aren't left behind either, but it's one of them things where it's like, hey, we're just going to keep pushing you through until you become an adult. And when you're an adult, you'll figure it all out. But it shouldn't be that way. Like, if you can go to school till you're 21 and it takes you till you're 21 to understand the logic, this and that. Now, sports is out for you because I wouldn't like to have a 17 and 16 and 15-year-old playing a 21-year-old kid. That's a little different.
Right.
But education-wise, I feel sometimes people don't, and parents are the biggest key right now because there's not two parents in the home to make sure kids are doing homework and make sure those kind of things are happening. That's why I do like the 2 extra hours that LeBron James is offering. Maybe that's for tutoring or getting homework done.
Right.
Those kind of things, that's a big push, I believe, where when you look at other countries, parents are still a factor in their kids' lives, where here we've taken that out of the home.
Yeah, it seems like it's a cultural thing, especially when it comes statistics. When it comes to Asian Americans, statistically, they have better jobs than any other race, better than whites. They get paid more and they're higher educated. And I think it's a cultural thing because they unanimously, as a majority, they have 2-parent homes. They're very strict when it comes to work. They take pride in detailed work and musicians and being an expert at something. So I really do think it's a cultural thing that Americans, we are deconstructing our culture, saying that, it's not just normal to have a single parent family, but it's actually applauded that, oh, you're a single mom, good for you, blah, 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 blah. And instead of being like, man, let's do everything we can to try to keep the families together. But I think our society is trying to tell us that most of the things that is really destroying us as a culture, us as a nation, are the very things that society is telling us is okay and even applauded.
Yeah, it's also one of the things when you look at sports athletes, a lot of times when they become successful, it's almost like, hey, this guy has overcome so much because he came from a single home family. But in all actuality, it's like majority of people are coming from single home families, and some people don't even have no parents because their parents are always gone. So it's like, yeah, let's praise this, but it's not. I think, like you were saying, it's a cultural thing where we have deconstructed the home so much now that because both parents have to have a job pretty much to even make a median family. So I couldn't even imagine having a dad who has to work 3 or 4 jobs and a mom have to work 3 or 4 jobs just to make things meet or try to give to your child or children. And also some homes now, people have 8 or 9 kids and can't even function. So
right.
It's one of them things. It's culturally, we almost shut some of our kids off in a way as parents because we have 5 or 6 kids and our kid can't get to the sport, can't get to the school, can't, has to take care of his siblings. And And it's really hard, I think, for kids to do that. And that's why I do like the I Promise School, some of the things that he's giving them where, now your parents can work for the school, or he'll have a job placement where maybe it'll make it where families can be more at home after 5 o'clock.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's that was LeBron, and that was the good thing about LeBron. That, to me, good job for LeBron James for doing that. I applaud him. I applaud what he does on the basketball court. Now, look, can I get to bad LeBron now?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
I'd like to hear this. I might even have some arguments with this one.
Yeah, you might. Okay, so LeBron James was interviewed by CNN's Don Lemon, and if anyone thinks that Don Lemon is a serious journalist, I got news for you. That was such a leading interview. And if you watch it, which I said it's on our Facebook page, so check it out. When you watch it, you can see that was one of the most racist interviews I've ever watched when it comes to being on mainstream media. I could not believe what I was listening to. Don Lemon and him, they talked about, they were openly disgusted with Donald Trump. Now that's one of the things I want to discuss. And I have an article here from People magazine, and it comes directly from the interview. It says LeBron James says Donald Trump is using sports to divide the nation. And he says, I can't sit back. And LeBron says, we're in a position right now in America where this race thing has taken, I got to change the page. This race thing has taken this nation over. I believe our president is kind of trying to divide us. He is. I don't want to say kinda. He's dividing us. I can't sit back and say nothing. Now, a few things about this. Number one, saying I can't sit back and say nothing, that is not grammatically correct. It's I can't sit back and say anything. And I know I'm just nitpicking there, but he's making it sound like that this division with athletics was just occurred under President Trump. And that's the problem with a lot of these guys who are social justice warriors and left leaning is that everything's the history of now. History started the day Donald Trump was elected. They don't remember anything else. Colin Kaepernick was the original one to set this whole division when it comes to sports. He's the one that took a knee when it came to the anthem. And he took that knee while former President Barack Obama was president. So it did not start with Donald Trump. Donald Trump is echoing what the majority of football fans are feeling, where they are sick of it. They don't want to hear all this virtue signaling and social justice warrioring. I made that word up. Today, when we're watching football on Sundays, that's the last thing we want to see. We want to escape all that, and we want to be a part of the. We just want to be in football and root for and against. So I am definitely I'm pissed off about him about that.
So I agree with you. I do believe that Don Lemon, right?
Don Lemon, yeah.
Yeah, Don Lemon. I believe I watched majority of the interview that you sent me, and I feel you are right. When you look at the interview, it is kind of racially charged. It is, almost a biased racist interview where you almost, I guess, make LeBron James agree with you, but then try to pull other people in to agree with you. As like in that interview, what LeBron was saying.
It was like them talking it was like LeBron and Don Lemon. It was like the camera wasn't on, and we got to peek behind the curtain of what they were really thinking. And what they're really thinking is, oh, white people this, white people. Oh, white people have pantries. What's that? What's a pantry? And I'm like, what are you talking about?
And it's true. There was a quote that he made in there where he was saying that it don't matter how successful you are, how educated you are, what you've overcome or what you've done, that the white person is still going to always look at you as the N-word. And I disagree with that. I think in today's society, I would say, I believe majority of the white people are trying because don't even have to really try, just aren't that way. Like, and our kids that are being raised aren't being raised that way either. So for people to sit there and say that we are basically keeping this door open and keeping the racial views open, like as in our kids' eyes and that kind of stuff. It's like, it's not really being that way. It's not taught that way. It's not like, I go up to my kid and say, hey, this is the people, you need to hate these people. You need to do this and that. Not saying things aren't going to happen in my kid's life where my kid might say, hey, you know what? I was beat up by 9 people, a gun was put to my head, and now I just don't like this, or this color of people, whether it's black, Asian, whatever, don't matter. It could be with any color. But my biggest problem with it is that when you have to go and you have to say that we all look at you that way, that is complete false. Like, because some people don't have, I have eyes with no color pretty much, that I look at you and I'm like, you're a person, you're a person. It's how you treat me that I'm going to treat you that way or not. And when you look at it, it's when you ponder and sit there and say everybody is going to treat us this way and everybody's going to act like this, then we can never change that. No matter how good we are, no matter the way we look at you, we can be best friends with you. If you just look at us and say, oh, you just think I'm the N-word every single time I say something to you, then it's never going to be fixed.
Yeah, it's perpetuating victimhood. That's what I like to say. It's just perpetuating victimhood. They've been told through the media over and over and by these race baiters that, hey, you aren't successful because of your color. You aren't successful because other skin colors don't like you and want to hold you down. I got news for a lot of people. You don't matter. Nobody cares about you. No one cares about you. The only person responsible for the decisions you make are you. And if you want to be successful, you work hard at it. There's not people wake up in the morning and they're stroking their Pendleton mustache and wringing their hands saying, okay, what black guy or what Hispanic am I gonna hold down today because I don't want to succeed? That's not how it is. People, business people especially, they don't care what color you are. They care what your work ethic is.
I think business people just care about the color of the money.
Exactly.
As long as they have the color of the money, it doesn't matter anymore because that's all they care about is what comes in.
And that's why I see when I see like these some people that refuse service to other people for whatever reason, I look at that as just being stupid. And the vast majority of business owners, they will let anybody in because they like the color of green, and that's what it's all about. It's about the bottom line, being in the red or being in the black. And you want to be in the black for sure when it comes to business. But then like LeBron's talking about and Don Lemmon are talking about white people and how they're eating dinner at 6:30, and it's like, what's that? 6:30 dinner? Whoa, this is so weird. And white people have pantries like there are no impoverished white people in the world. And I have basic statistics right here from talkpoverty.com. And African American poverty rate, there's 9.2 million African Americans in poverty. And here's where it's funny, okay? So there's 9.2 million African Americans in poverty. The white poverty rate, there's 17.5 million white people in poverty. Now the percentages differ. There's only 8.8% whites in poverty, and there's 22% African Americans in poverty because there's more white people in this nation than black people. But to say that blacks are poverty and blacks are exclusive is ridiculous. It's a ridiculous thing to say. And LeBron was saying it like it's known fact that white people have money and black people are poor. And
so Brett, did you state the Hispanic poverty level there too?
Well, I have it here. The Hispanic poverty level, there's 11.1 million Hispanics in poverty. So they're number 2 as the most impoverished people. And African Americans is 9.2 million. So they're 3. They get the bronze medal for poverty, whereas white Americans get the gold and Hispanic gets the silver.
And I mean, it's one of the things. It's like whenever you read off the numbers and stuff, and you look at it. To me, the only way a person can be successful is through hard work, heart, dedication, and basically sacrifice. It's everything that you have to do to be successful. And if you sit there and allow the pity-patty story and what your friends are doing and where you come from, those things dwell on what you're going to be, then you're never going to be successful, because that's for every single person. Not saying some people aren't born into success. Great for them. But, majority of the people are middle class or below middle class.
Right.
So for us to be successful, we have to go out. We have to be willing to do whatever it takes, to get there. I mean, within means. That ain't selling drugs, because that's eventually going to end for you. But doing those kind of things, and dedicating yourself to be something, getting an education is one of those, which I promise is a great way to start.
Yes.
But it's one of the things that if you aren't dedicated and you're not trying to succeed in this life and be something, everybody can't just sit there and say, I want to be a millionaire. You might want to wake up and say, I want to have $100. And then you might want to wake up and say, hey, I want $1,000.
Right.
And then eventually you might want $1 trillion because you're there.
Well, just to put things in perspective, as far as the poverty rate in America, when it comes to the world poverty rate, there is little to no Americans are living in poverty. The most impoverished people here, with a few exceptions, but the most impoverished people here in America still have a flat screen TV and still have a car and still have a cell phone. That's not impoverished when it comes to world standards.
I mean, if you have a means of transportation, even a bike, a skateboard, shoes,
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe you're in poverty, because some places they don't even have shoes and they're walking miles to get water.
Yep. Yeah. So it just miffs me that this, and these statistics were from 2016. So this wasn't something like in 92. It was like, oh, well, that was 19. This is in 2016. And I don't want to make light of the issue of racism, because there are racists. Racism exists, and there are racists here in America and all around the world. I don't want to make light of that. And I know that some people, when they're born into a family and they're not as well off as others. So it's harder for them to get to the higher class or even the middle class. But this is a nation that's a capitalistic nation. This republic gives you the ability to move up in class, in wealth class, and even move down. And it all comes down to you, and it's your decision. How hard do you want to work? What do you want to sacrifice? And I think there's a lot of people that either are unwilling to sacrifice it, or they're told that they can't have the opportunity to sacrifice. And that's such a tragedy.
I have a lot of friends from different cultures, and one thing that I, have noticed that I never have heard their family say anything about, watch what you go when you go on the street, watch out, because these people are going to take from you and this and that. It was never that way. I think it's how you're raised a lot of times. Your parents, if they're sitting there telling you, hey, the white man's out to get you, or the Hispanic guy's out to get you, or the black guy's out to get you, then that's what you're going to feel when you get older. And like I said, with my friends that, are of different cultures, their families don't do that stuff. It's success is by what you do. It's by how you're raised, and, you're disciplined and you're raised to do the right thing. And if you do the wrong thing, then yes, you're looked down upon. I mean, that's something that you should do. If you do something wrong, you should look down upon your kid and say, you know what, you could have done better. It's not looking down upon them. It's encouraging them that, hey, do the right thing,
Right. Yeah. Stay on.
Yeah. And if you're not doing that, which it is hard today, because like I said, some parents aren't even in their own kids' lives because they're working, come home at 10 and 12 o'clock at night, and the mom works all day, and she comes home and maybe you get an hour with your kid, and I think that's one of the problems we have in society today. But it's one of the things, if you're not showing that, hey, these people are out to get me, then I don't believe your kids are going to be raised to think somebody's always out to get me, or I am obligated to get this because, my great, 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 great ancestor did this, or my family had to come across the border and do this. Like, I feel I'm obligated to this. No, you're not obligated to nothing. You have to be able to work hard and go get it, get you an education, become something in America, because guess what? Doors are open for everybody. It's just, are you going to take your chance to go through the door?
Right, exactly. And he also, LeBron also talked about Trayvon Martin and how all this division and he talked about how this is racist when it comes to, this nation's racist, and and Trayvon Martin was a great example and everything. And to me, who was the guy that shot Trayvon Martin? You remember his name?
Man, I really cannot.
Okay. Well, there's a Hispanic dude that shot Trayvon Martin. And to me, that guy is crazy. He's a crazy dude. But that was more of a policy thing than a race thing. I don't think that Trayvon Martin got shot because he was black. I think he got shot because of a crazy dude that wants to be a cop, and just a policy thing.
His name was George Zimmerman, by the way. And with the George Zimmerman case and the Trayvon Martin, Trayvon Martin case, the news media created a racist war between whites and blacks, which there wasn't. I'm not saying there wasn't racism, but there wasn't a racial war going on at the time. And when they created that between whites and blacks, because they made George Zimmerman almost like he was a white guy, and it wasn't that way. He was an Hispanic guy.
Yeah,
it's just like, because some people stood up and said, "Hey, George Zimmerman was in the right," and maybe that was majority white. I'm not sure, but whenever you look at it, it's like, why did you create? And Obama was in office at the president. I guess President Barack Obama was in office at that time when it was almost created, and he never stood up to say, "Hey, this isn't a race war. This shouldn't be this way." But it came out that way, and
it did. And the last thing that LeBron said in that interview, Don Lemmon had been kind of like coaching him through this whole interview. That was basically, there's a little bit about the school, which I really liked, but then most of it was anti-Trump and racism. And the last thing Don Lemmon said to LeBron, he asked him, he's like, if President Trump was sitting right across from you right now, what would you say to him? And then LeBron said, I would never sit across from Donald Trump. I would never sit with him. And to me, that's such a bad thing to say. I did not vote for Barack Obama. I didn't vote for him twice. First time, I didn't vote for him. Second time, I was in the hospital. I was in a coma, so I couldn't vote for him. But if I have my issues with him, and if I had the ability to sit down in front of him and talk to him, I would definitely do it, because I respect the office, and I don't think he's a bad man. I really don't. I just think that he is a guy that thought he knew what was right when it came to policy, and he knew the kind of America he wanted, and he wanted to fundamentally change it. And I think he succeeded in a big way. But I wouldn't say, oh, I'm not going to sit across from you because I disagree with everything you say. I think Barack Obama was a big race baiter with a lot of things, but I would still sit across from him and talk to him and ask him a few questions. Definitely.
Well, when we look at that, Kanye West pretty much said basically the same thing. And then we seen them get together, and it was like, I can't say Kanye completely changed all of his views, but he also may have changed some of Donald Trump's views. It's when you look at it, you get to actually sit down and talk with this person. Not saying you're going to agree on everything or disagree, but if you could change something, why not sit down with somebody and give them your open-minded idea, and your opinion? And who knows, that might sway somebody to say, you know what, you're right about something, because I never looked at it that way.
Exactly. And I think that's the problem with what's going on in America today, especially on social media, is people are refusing to sit down and listen to the other side. They're refusing to do it because they're taking a hard line on their belief system. Now, I think there are some beliefs that you should be hard line with, but when it comes to politics and policies and stuff like that, you should be able to sit down and have an open and honest discussion, and a mature discussion, and not calling people an ass and not calling people Nazis and all this stuff. You should be able to do that and walk away with it. Even if you guys agree to disagree, still walking away like, okay, well, I'm glad we had the discussion.
Well, an ass is the Democrat symbol, so.
Yeah, I can't refute that. That is true. That is true. So
y'all are all asses, though.
Good LeBron, bad LeBron. Thumbs up for LeBron, man. I love what you're doing with the kids down in Akron. Making that school was incredible. Good on you. I'm proud of you for that. Bad LeBron, because you just aren't very educated when it comes to most things in life.
LeBron, I love you as an athlete. I hope you get a championship this year. It'd be amazing. I love what you're doing with the kids in Promise School, and I hope for the best for anybody that comes out of there. That you've created something that hopefully the government also looks at and does it for others. So, Brett, on to strange news.
Strange news. All right. Well, I got one for you. This is pretty strange. Just kind of like what? So here we go. Let me make sure this is an actual news article. Okay. Yeah, it's not like from The Onion or anything.
Okay.
So, all right. So here's the headline: Airbnb offering stay at the Great Wall of China. All right. So it says here, this was written August 3rd. So I guess it was today. It says Airbnb announced its contest to the chance to spend the night in a unique location, the Great Wall of China. The combination finding website posted a listing for the opportunity to win a stay for two at a custom designed home situated along the ancient portion of the wall. The bedroom, constructed in an ancient guard tower, is roofless, giving guests a full view of the stars. And it's the company is quoted by saying this: known as some of the greatest architectural feats in human history, the Great Wall was built as a border to protect Chinese states against the raids thousands of years ago. Today, it is widely considered one of the seven wonders of the modern world, bringing its visitors from all walks of life together. So, my question for you, Robbie, is: would you be excited to enter that contest, or are you like, why would I want to stay at the Great Wall of China?
I mean, I think it'd be amazing to see because I haven't seen it. I do believe it is a wonder of the world that's still left. But I'm not really sure if I mean, it's not super exciting for me to. I mean, you can go visit it. So why would you really care to stay at it?
Yeah, especially like in the here's what I gather when it comes to talking about ancient ruins and stay at an ancient castle and stuff like that. You get ancient accommodations. Like you're going, the bathroom is not like a regular Airbnb house. You're going to have to like poop in a bucket. So I don't really know why you would want to stay there. I guess it's cool if it's not raining because you don't have a roof.
Yeah, I was thinking, what if the stars aren't out because it's raining?
It's raining or it's cloudy, or what about if it's snowing? Like, what happened?
I mean,
they give you an ancient sleeping bed.
Yeah, it's called rock or the ground.
On the ground. The rock's the pillow.
I mean,
a bit lumpy.
I don't know. I thought you were going to go with ancient places, ancient ghosts, but
no, well, that's for sure. You know
how much you're afraid of that kind of stuff
on that wall and hung for the rest of the hordes to see.
I know you're afraid. You're kind of afraid of that kind of stuff. I think that kind of part would be awesome to actually go and experience that part. But
that would be cool. I wouldn't want to sleep there. Like I will go to a haunted house to do a paranormal. I'm doing a lot of quotations today. Those that are listening and not watching. I will go do paranormal investigations at a haunted house, but I don't want to sleep there.
I would love to sleep there.
You wake up and there's this old maid staring at you 3 inches from your face. No, I said old maid, not hot maid.
I'd say, ma'am, are you here to sweep the floor? Sorry. Don't look like nobody's cleaned this in ages. Why are you here?
This is ancient times. There's no maids.
But yeah, I mean, that's pretty strange news.
Yeah, I thought so. It's not as strange as other news that we've had in the past, but I thought, really, Airbnb of all places. Like, imagine Airbnb in the Great Wall of China.
Yeah,
inside one of the pyramids.
That was very odd when you said Airbnb was doing it.
I know. Yeah, like you can stay anywhere. Where would you want to stay? Like a weird place. If Airbnb said you could pick any place to sleep overnight, where would you stay?
Oh man, where would I stay? I probably would I would like an Egyptian pyramid. I think that'd be
pyramid.
Cool. Yeah.
Like inside or like on top?
Like right inside. I think it'd be kind of cool inside. I mean, you watch all these movies where it like changes and you push something and
Yeah, like on
I know me.
Predator,
I would probably touch something I wasn't supposed to touch and then create world havoc.
Yeah, that would be cool. Let's see, where would I stay? Oh, you know where I'd want to stay is, and I know this is kind of not very manly of me, but what the in Disney World, Cinderella's castle. Not, I wouldn't want to stay at Cinderella's castle, but there's a castle over the pond somewhere.
Oh, the Tangled Castle.
Is that it?
That's it. That's the Tangled Castle. Supposedly they're going to be opening a park about soon there with it.
Okay, well, that's the castle that they modeled Cinderella's castle, right?
I believe so. I'm not positive.
Yeah, that's the one. When you go to Disney World and you go on Soarin', that new ride Soarin', they actually take you over that castle.
Oh, cool.
That's where I would want to stay.
Yeah, it lights up at night. It's kind of far in the distance.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's me.
Sadie told me that one time was the Tangled Castle. So
okay.
I'm assuming it is. She studies that kind of stuff all the time.
All right. So you got it from a woman. You're not just you don't know it like I do.
I don't know it like you do. I had to go through a third source.
Well, what do you think, man? I think that today was a pretty good one with LeBron.
Yeah, I think it was a great show. I would like to hear everybody's opinion about LeBron and what they feel about him. Not if he's the greatest athlete of all time. I mean, if you have a great debate on that, then I'd like to hear about that as well. But
that debate's over.
Everybody already knows that he's the greatest basketball player ever.
Yeah. So, guys, listen. Thank you so much for tuning in to Arm and a Leg and other opinions we like to give. Just remember to go on Facebook and check us out. Also, YouTube. Go ahead and get on YouTube. We have a channel there. You can watch our pretty faces instead of listening to our nasally voices. And what you do is you get on YouTube, you click the subscribe button, you click the notification bell, and every time one of these videos comes out, you will get a bing, and there we are.
And don't forget also to subscribe to our Arm and a Leg and other opinions we'd like to give on SoundCloud. And also, like Brett said, go ahead and like our Facebook page and leave 1 or 2 comments about the show if you like something. And, if you want to have a debate, go ahead and debate with us. We'd love to do it. So thanks a lot for tuning in this week.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. We will see you next week. I am Brett Parks.
And this is your boy, Robbie Gaupp.
And we are
out of here.